Hi, this is Steve from SHGP Media. Welcome to the 4IB.
Vortex call signs Vulcan 30 HLS establishment at grid 1.
Down, 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 down. Charlie, let's move up to position with them.
Take fire, take fire.
Welcome to Infantry Training Centre ArmA Guard, home to the 4th Infantry Brigade ArmA MILSIM group. This training area, located on the Danish island of Bornholm, is one of several training areas used by the 4IB. The 4th Infantry Brigade are based on their real-world British Army counterpart. At over 150 members, they are the largest British Army MILSIM group within the ArmA community, and conduct realistic independent operations 3 nights a week on Wednesdays, Saturdays and Sundays, which have seen the unit deploy on a variety of operations and in different locations around the world. The unit is made up of members from all walks of life, including multiple countries. These include real-world current or forming serving members of the armed forces, those aspiring to join in the future, or those just looking to game at a more realistic level, all though having a vested interest in the British military. My own personal background is that I served in the Royal Air Force for 12 years, from 2006 to 2018. I initially joined as an aspiring weapons systems operator, but unfortunately was unsuccessful during training. I later retrained to become an imagery analyst, which I did for the remainder of my career, where I supported operations and humanitarian aid missions around the globe. I have friends and former colleagues who remain in the military, some of them doing the different roles portrayed within the 4IB, and I hope they agree that this unit conducts itself with respect to them. The 4IB takes its realism seriously and aims to accurately portray British military operations and tactics as realistically as possible. This is helped by a number of different mods, some public and also ones which have been produced within the unit, in addition to the knowledge of the membership, who bring publicly available information along with their previous military experience to the unit. From this experience, members of the unit have been able to put together some very in-depth and realistic training courses. Like a good old space cadet, I've completed many of these courses and got plenty of badges. I joined the 4IB back in January 2024 on 18 Squadron as an aspiring virtual Chinook Pilot, and this video series will document my journey, from Phase 1 recruit to what I hope will be a fully qualified and competent pilot within the unit. And at the time of recording, my training is ongoing. The 4IB is always looking to recruit new members, so if this video series has you interested in joining the unit or just wanting to learn more, please take a look at the different links which I've provided in the video's description, and make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel to follow along with the different videos in this series. Our story starts back in January 2024 as a fresh batch of recruits arrive at Infantry Training Centre ArmA Guard. This is 559 Troop, and this is the start of their journey with the 4th Infantry Brigade.
Stand still, face your fronts.
Right, this is a foundation centre here. It's where you're going to spend the first 2 weeks. Name?
McCormack Corporal.
Do your top button up. Nothing to have a shave this morning?
I did, sir.
Corporal, I disagree with you massively. I'll be teaching you how to shave properly. Name?
Richards Corporal.
Empty the condenser in front of you, please.
Transformation begins. Uniform and kit.
First bit of kit, then is your Combat 95 Gore-Tex trousers.
You will have been issued in your bed pack a mattress cover, a pillow, 2 pillowcases, 2 duvet covers, 2 white sheets, and a quilt.
Now looking like soldiers, the men of 559 Troop are ready to begin their Phase 1 training.
Okay, you've had a nice easy day today, fellas. Starts from tomorrow. The learning curve is like that. Right, so you need to have a good attitude. Right, you need to be willing to work hard. Otherwise, it'll get painful. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, sir.
I know some of you got kits, but for this purpose of this, we'll make sure everyone has the same thing. So here, on the, if you Windows key on this guy here, on his belt, you should see interactions and go to Arsenal. Then go to loadouts. And after here, if you go to the middle button that says default loadouts, take the rifleman loadout. Once this you're done here and get into your sections, you can then have a talk with your section commanders and stuff about more customized loadouts. When you're done, you can customize things like the vests and stuff, and backpacks to have a little bit of personalization. As you can see, my vest is a bit different. But for the purpose of this, we'll make sure everyone has the same things. The little blue or yellow tips at the end is a light fire adapter. It means that whatever you fire this weapon now, it won't actually hurt people. But don't try it. Please, not yet. Alright then. Welcome to the 4AB. This unit has gone on now for since 2015, I believe. Yeah, 2015. One of the biggest British MILSIMs in Europe. I don't think there's any other British MILSIMs outside of Europe. What we're going to be going over today is basically the essential basics of a little bit of ArmA and the mods that we use, so that you are able to properly play the game and not be like, how do I do this thing when someone asks you to, when you get onto your regular nights. And then we're also going to go over a bit of the formations that we use, the fire control orders you'll be hearing, and some of the radios that you will be using. To introduce myself and the other people you'll be seeing later, I am Larson. As mentioned, I've been here for 6 years in the unit. I'm in IC in 7 platoon, 2 section, which is where Noble is going. Aha, he's stuck with me. 7 platoon is our mechanized infantry side. It means we're driving around in big armored boxes. And meant to be boxes, but they don't have the mod for that yet, so we have the strikers instead. Reference, basically, left of you. To your left. Yeah, Foike may be turning up later. We'll have Smith, who is coming along later, who is the head of Phase 1. He's in fire support in 3 section. That means they fire mortars and javelins and other kinds of stuff. But what we'll be taking a look at is just a quick look at the unit's general structure of it and the section. So to break down the essential unit, this might, if you want a visual representation of this, I recommend just quickly tapping out and opening up the 4AB ORBAT. In the 4AB, we have the unit set up so that you have Battle Group HQ at the very top. You won't see these people as much on the server, as they manage kind of more the behind the scenes, like the actual finances of the unit and making sure that the mods that we've planned are set up and the missions we run and all kinds of other stuff goes well. They will also be on the server sometimes just to hang out and watch how it goes, or sometimes join into play. Under that, each night, so we're playing on, of course, as you probably been told, Saturdays, Sundays and Wednesdays, with 1 company assigned to each night. Before, you may hear references to this, we had 2 platoons for each night. We have since scaled down a bit because during the last half of the year, and especially up to winter, sometimes people get busy with other stuff and leave out, and we've shrunk a bit. So sometimes you'll see the unit scale back a bit, and other times during especially summer and after Christmas, you'll see us maybe scale up a bit. So maybe you'll soon see 2 platoons on a night rather than 1. But right now we are 1 platoon for each night, with 7 platoon now being 4 sections. Each platoon is made up of 3 sections with about 8 to 10 people on them, depending on what type of infantry they are, and a fire support element that manages our heavy weapons section. Behind that, we also have our lovely support assets, which the Expeditionary Air Wing, or EAW as we'll call them. This is where you'll find anything from the Apache, the Chinooks, and the Tactical Medical Wing, which is our not CTMs, but actual medics. They'll be running along, picking you up as you fall in the fight. And we also have our JSACs, who are the ones that call in the Apache. I believe also, as of recent, we have had a drone added to it, like a big hawk flying up above, providing recon. Other than that, you will also find our battle group attachments, which is the ones called 12MI, or 12 Military Intelligence. These people are the SUS team. We have a team of, how many are there now? 3, 6, 7, 8 SUSes who make sure that the knights are engaging and we actually have something to shoot at and talk with. And they are very good at making accents and voices. The more admin side as well, in the very bottom, you'll see there's a bunch of J1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These are kind of like the more outer server administration stuff. So J1, for example, is our personnel. It's the recruiters and people who make sure that your applications run through and make sure that new people joining get the info that they need. J2 helps make the missions, or they help out SUS or 12MI with it. J3 is where we actually make the operations. We make the maps, we make the setup, all the things around us. Make sure there's something actually here and not just a blank map that we can play on. J4 and J5 and 6 as well is where we make our mods. We have some in-house mods that we make that you'll get to see, and also just make sure that they all work together. While J7 is people like me who run all the courses. So in the unit you'll find that there's a lot of different courses you can take depending on your role. Everything from just machine gunner, like basic weapons, machine gunner, AT, marksman, which are quick, like 15-minute courses just to get people familiar with the tactics of using it. And then there's the longer ones, like the signals and medical courses, where they teach you the 8th medical, or the leadership courses that some people are on. J8 is if you ever find something has been done in the unit that you find unfair or unreasonable, and you don't think that was how it should have done, there is a anonymous reporting system set up within the unit, and it does actually work. There has been several cases where the J8 team decided, no, you shouldn't have done that, and walked it back. So if you ever find something like that, you can always reach out to people. And J9 is the ones who make all our promotion with images, videos, and more. That means that we get to look good and you guys actually discover the unit. It's a pretty long-winded one of just the actual structure, but that's just a kind of overview of all the things that actually are going on in this unit. There's a lot of people around that helps make things work. So now we'll go on to something a bit more grounded that we can look at and have a look at the sections themselves. If you come over here. So each section are usually comprised of a few roles. We have, for example, the what's it called? We have the point man, who would be the one leading the ahead of wherever we're going. He is trained to both navigate terrain and also search for mines and explosives, which he has a mine detect to use for, especially when we're in counterinsurgency operations with IED threats. He's the one that makes sure that when we step somewhere, we don't blow up, or at the very least, he's the one that blows up instead of the rest of us. Behind him will usually be the section IC. He's the one that leads the herd of cats towards the objective, makes sure that we get there, and is the one that communicates around to the other sections to make sure that everything works smoothly, and also is the one that makes sure you guys get a good night of shooting and get to where you need. Behind him, we'll usually have the Rifleman AT. This one, you'll get to see some of the self-made mods we have. Usually the Light AT here, he is the one carrying the ASM, or the Matador. It's both usable against lightly armored vehicles or buildings, as the shell is modeled to pass through the wall before it explodes. And it does actually work as well. So you can fire it into a building and kill everyone inside it without taking down the entire building. Quite neat.
Like accurate.
Yep. That's
it works in real life.
Yep, it's mouse hold, so it's like a delayed fuse. So once it like hits the wall, it triggers in and counts down like 1 or 2 seconds for it to pass through the wall and then actually explode inside the house or a bunker.
That's so
It's
cool.
yeah, basically a bunker buster, but in handheld shape. Beside him, we have the marksman with the L12. He's the one that can shoot the furthest and has the cool 7.62 rifle. He's usually the one that makes sure that when we're in a firefight, he makes sure that the enemy machine guns and section commanders are going down instead of ours. And also when we go out a bit further range, he can shoot out up to 800 meters. Beside him, we have the CTM medics. He's the section team medic who makes sure that during the fight we get any injuries that we have treated and make sure to keep people alive and stable if you go unconscious until a real medic can get to you and pick us up off the battlefield and get us back in there without having to go through a respawn screen. Beside that, we'll have the 2IC. He is my best friend. He basically takes all the jobs that I don't want to do, and make sure that but if we can kind of say if the section IC makes sure that the section's objective is done, the 2IC makes sure that the section gets out of there alive again. Second to last, we have the heavy AT, the good old NLAW. We've seen a lot of it in Ukraine now, so probably a lot of people know about it now. Heavy AT can take up pretty much any MBT we come up against with both a top-down and direct fire and a tracking system. Very fun to fire. A bit difficult though, especially in armor. And the last one is the machine gunner with the 7.62 machine gun, who with 7.62 belts basically makes sure that the enemy keeps its head down and doesn't peek up. A last rule we have as well now, that's not part of this, is that if you're part of 7 platoon, you can be assigned as the vehicle crew. That's where you then work as either the driver and or gunner of the striker vehicle, and then you get either a 12, a 50 cal or a Mark 19 to fire.
There is actually one other role within the infantry section which Larson did not showcase, and that is the Grenadier. They are armed with an L123A3 underslung grenade launcher mounted to their L85 rifle. This weapon allows an explosive or smoke round to be fired over a greater distance than what can be thrown by hand. It permits precision firing, such as through windows at long range, as well as indirect fire on targets, using the high arc of the round to reach over obstacles and hit concealed enemies. Anyway, enough from me, back to Larson.
These roles will usually be split up into Charlie and Delta fire teams. Does everyone know what those are, in case you've already been with British Army or?
I do.
I do.
Okay. Then I won't go too much in depth with that, but split into Charlie Delta, pretty simple. It's not always set that the marksman is in Delta or the CTM is in Delta. The section ICs can mix it up as they go along, but usually those are the default formula. Now, what we'll go over is just have a quick look at the mods that we have with ourselves. So, the how many of you have used?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not much.
Not much. So to have the basics ones is that on ACE, the two most important buttons you have is the self-interact and interact button. The default keybind is Windows Control. I have bound it to Grave, or the tilde key, as I find that a lot easier. If you try open your self-interaction menu, you will see a lot of things. The one that we'll be having a look at now is under survival. So in the 4IB, we use a few mods for the ACE survival. People have to eat and drink, else they pass out. Just a small immersion feature, and as long as you manage, you won't run into problems with it. But if you do, if you suddenly find yourself passing out in and out of conscience all of a sudden, you don't have any injuries, you probably need to drink some water. The way to do it is quite simple. You just self-interact, go to survival, and then select, for example, the canteen if you have one. Do you have any in your kit right now?
Yeah.
If you do, you'll see a small animation play. This will be indicated when you need it in the bottom right of your screen. It will be like a transparent orange, yellow, reddish icon depending on how urgent you need it. You can also in the options set it so that it's a permanent icon. I have it set so it's like a draining icon on my bottom right, so I'm always aware of it because I am terrible at managing it. I always forget. That's why I have a 2IC to remind me. The other thing that we have, and for this, I shall make myself part of your group. There we go. So, how many of you have the optional mod pack installed?
I do.
Should have everything, so I guess.
I don't know.
Right. So for those of you with the optional, one of the things we have in here is the DUI panel, which is basically just it gives you this awareness that you usually have in real life about where people are, and it gives you a little just indicator of who's in your set. What you can do here is what you'll be told at the start of the night when you're either Charlie or Delta. You'll be asked to assign a color. So if you self-interact and go to team management, you'll see you can either join red, green, blue, or yellow. Now usually the IC will go green and the 2IC will be yellow. That's how you can always tell who they are. And then Charlie will be red and Delta will be blue. Red or blue right now. Should be able to see our colors down in the DUI also change. Have you all got it?
Yeah, see.
Yeah. You want us to select a color or something?
Yeah, just select any of them. One with colors. You'll also see in the bottom, I don't know if those of you with DUI will probably notice this, that when you selected a color, it will sort the person into their teams. So blues will be stuck together, and reds, for example, if I will go to the bottom.
Okay.
There's also just a way to keep the sections together. Something we have as well is if you self-interact, you will find the black rat symbol. That's the default key for all our main mods that we have for ourselves. So I need to put my helmet on for this. So under headgear, you will usually find that you can either attach a visor, cat's eyes, scrim, or a beret. The visor is usually for vehicle crew. It's a little protective face helmet that you can assign. The one you will usually find is that you need to apply scrim. So if you all try and apply scrim, Nice. And the way to remove it is simply, if you go back in the same one, you'll now see it's under headgear, it's their standards instead, and that just removes it. Pretty simple. Usually we keep it on at all times, so unless you're me, you usually find me without it. Anyway, the other one is uniform fix. That is just an armor-free bug where sometimes if you leave a vehicle or get into a vehicle, it will remove your uniform visually for everyone else, so it looks like you're just running around naked. But on your screen it says you seem fine. So if someone asks you why are you naked, just go on the black rat and click uniform fix, and it will refresh your uniform.
Okay.
Now, next one we have is camo faces. You all have the option for camo faces in your self-interaction menu.
Camo cream, not faces.
Yeah, camo cream. Yeah.
Yep.
So this one, it used to be a bit harder, but this one basically just you'll be told on the night usually what to put, but for this sake, if you just go into Europe and apply, you should soon see that the face is all covered. And in mine, it will auto open a mirror, but if you want to see, there's a camo. Does it help? Not against the AI, but it looks cool. Against Zeus, sometimes. Next one we have is one of the best mods that was ever added to ArmA. It is the mod Enhanced Movement. How many of you have played with that before?
A little bit.
So Noble, I know you come from Reforger now, so what you might not know is that back here in ArmA 3, all you can really do to vault something is... That's it. You can't... Well, you couldn't jump stuff until now. If you all come over here... So, the... Now I need to remember what the default key is for you guys, but I believe it might be Alt V. I put it as Shift V. I put it as space. Oh no, Shift V. You put yourself. No, actually.
Shift V is jumping.
Oh, yeah. Alt. Yeah. I put it just to space because I don't use that key for anything else. I have my interaction wheel on select, but it essentially just allows you to climb various things with ease, and if you look down on the ledge, you can also climb down from it without injuring yourself. Because if you fall from any sort of height in ArmA, you have a very big chance of just breaking your leg. You can try it out here. If you're in doubt where the key is, if you go to Escape and go to Configure, Controls, and then in bottom, Configure Add-ons, then at the top, scroll to the bottom, and find Ace Enhanced Rework. And then you'll find your all-in-one action and set it to your desired key. I recommend space. Another fun feature you can try out is if you hold or press Alt-V, you will go into assist mode, in which you'll basically make yourself a platform that someone else can climb onto with ease. So you can actually give each other a boost. So if Noble, for example, presses Alt-V, then Luke, you should be able to basically jump on top of his back. Like this. And then you can reach a higher point. Yeah, there you go. It can be useful for getting over walls, various other stuff. Next we'll go over, before it is that we get to some of the more parts, is the radios that we use. How many of you have used Acre?
Yeah.
Played about with it.
Yeah, I don't think I have, to be honest. I've used a radio in an online game, but I don't know if that was the right one.
Yeah. That's no problem. Acre is our radio mod that does a very high simulation of radios is what helped me pass my radio course, because I went down and wait, I've seen all these before. All right, I've played around with them in ArmA. Basically, the way to work them is if you go to self-interact key, you should see at the very bottom, you should see radios, or the side, depending on what kind of radio you have. And then you should see the ANPLC 343.
Yep.
Yep. See?
If you hover over it, you'll see a few options. So here, what they are is if you hover over both ears, you can set it to either you'll be able to hear the radio in both your left and your right ear, or if you want to hear it only in your left or your right ear. This can be useful if you, like me, are carrying 3 radios at this time. Else you will find yourself going nuts. We'll skip this one, the second one, but if the share button, if you'll hover over, this essentially means that you've now shared your radio, as in you will let other people come up to you and listen in on it. This can be useful if you're working as like maybe a JTAC or something, like a radio operator in some sort of sense, and your IC needs to listen in to you sometimes, where you can just go up and interact with it. Have you guys done that? I don't see it. Were you able to find it?
I've clicked on it.
Yeah, I've done it. It says unshare now. Yeah.
Done.
Oh yeah, shared radios. I see it. So yeah, if you go up to each other and hold down Windows key, you'll see shared radios. You'll be able to listen in. Let me try and... Well, I can't really...
Okay.
But, not used too much, but it's nice to know anyway. The last one you'll see is that it's set to PTT1. So you can set this either as PTT1, 2, or 3. What this changes is what keybind you are using to talk on it. So the default radio key is caps lock. Then you can use control caps lock to speak on your secondary radio if you have one. Or if you have a third radio, you can use shift caps lock to speak on the third net. So what this does is essentially just you can shift around which radio is on what keybind. This might become useful for you, Harrison, if you're going as EAW. You'll probably be getting multiple radios.
Yeah.
Now, we'll have a look at the 343. If you hover over it, and just as you hover over the radio, it's well in your screen, but in front of you. Let me know when you all go.
Yep, see?
What, so it's like actually open, yeah.
Yep. Now, so at the very top, you have the little radial where it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 15. This is a quick channel change, or this is where you change your channel. So if we all try, for example, just turn ourselves to channel 3. You'll see that it also actually changes the radio. Left of that, you have the volume knob. If people are too loud, you can put them down. And then on the left side, on that little handle, you can see it will say detach handle. If you click that, you will see there'll be a little blue button when you open it where you can change the channel block. So when your section ICs tell you your radio frequency, they will usually say something like, when you say a radio channel, it will be, for example, mine is block 8, channel 3. So if you click the blue knob until we're on channel or block 8, channel 3. So you essentially just click the blue knob until it says block 8. Then you reattach the handle, and then switch the knob at the top to channel 3. Once you've done that, close your radio and try press caps lock to see if we can hear each other.
Radio check.
Yep.
Harrison, radio check.
Yep.
Table radio check.
All good. That is how you cue your radio.
So you get interference because of terrain.
Yes, yeah.
I hate that so much.
For width, with antennas and relay radios you can set up. For example, my favorite thing to show off is one of the you can do things like set radio options. There is a whole pad for this. You'll be shown this if you take the radio course, don't worry. But now, if I walk over here, I believe you should be able to hear me right next to you on the ground.
Yep.
You can essentially just drop a radio on the ground and walk away and have that. You still be able to listen into it. A lot of fun things you can do with it, such as speaker mode, so I can make sure my entire section knows what's going on to the net and they can hear all the wacky shit that goes on when people get really tired and just want to get a message across. There is a radio course if you want to get to know the bigger ones. There is like the 152 here, the 343s, like big backpack radios and vehicle radios and all the kinds. So if you're a radio nerd, you can go fully in on it. For the next part, we're going to go over some medical. Now, Noble has cheated ahead because he's already gone and done the CTM course. But essentially, we just want to make sure that when you get injured, when you next join an op night, you can actually treat yourself. I believe we also have Stockwell here. So, I think before we go to the medical scene, let's take a 5 to 10 minute break. And I will fill Stockwell in, and you guys can grab a drink or have a chat, and I'll just fill him in and get him up to speed so we can all continue. Sounds good?
Okay.
Sounds good. No problem.